Okay, perfect. Well, thank you for agreeing to chat with me. I know my viewers will be they're really excited to hear from you.
No problem.
Why don't we start by talking about BBCE and tell us a little bit about your business and the services that you provide for collectors?
Okay. Um, well, I opened the BBC 30 years and 1 month ago, on October 1st, 1990. So we just hit 30 years that I've been doing this. Uh, Pretty much every day for the last 30 years of my life, I've been doing this.
Wow.
Even when I've been on vacation, I'm still on the phone, still doing emails, every day.
Mhm.
But, as far as the services we offer, as far as authentication goes, we will authenticate wax, rack, cello boxes,
Mhm.
and oversized packs that PSA does not have a holder for. We will
Okay.
also do unopened cases as long as they are still originally sealed by the company they came in.
And you say you authenticate wax, cellos, and rack packs. Which type of pack?
Boxes.
Oh, yes. So wax boxes, cello boxes, as well as individual rack packs. But
Yes.
when you're
Yep.
looking at each individual pack, which type of pack is the hardest to authenticate and why?
Uh, Most people always assume the hardest one to do or the easiest one to do was rack packs.
Hmm.
People used to always think, how could somebody possibly mess with these things? Well, believe it or not, those are the ones that seem to come in the most that have been played around with. People have found ways to do it, and sometimes they're very good at it. But with the price of rack packs, say pre-78, and then you start getting them with the stars on top, they reach some pretty strong numbers. So yes, where there's money, there's always somebody out there trying to cheat somebody. And rack packs can be very difficult to detect.
And what is the process when you're trying to authenticate a rack pack? Because it's got to be a little, I would imagine, a little bit different than a wax pack or a cello pack.
Yeah, with rack packs, as far as the cellophane goes, you have to look at the seam that was
Mhm.
originally sealed by the company across the top and the bottom of the pack, along with the seam at the end of the rack pack, because the end is a lot of times where they go through to put key star Hall of Famers on the end cell of the rack pack. The other thing, too, is that with tops, a lot of times rack packs came in certain sequences in the cells. Certain sheets would only come in certain sections in rack packs. So you also got to look for that to see if it's not a correct sequence by tops, and then that helps me find other things about it, usually on the cellophane that I don't like.
Wow, that sounds
Yeah,
like.
another big problem right now we're seeing more and more of is unopened cello packs from like 81 to 85, football, baseball with stars on top and bottom. People are really good at resealing those too, especially the loose ones. So, you got to be careful out there, especially like, this stuff that's being sold on eBay raw. It's just the dumping grounds for bad homemade stuff.
Sure. Yeah, and it seems like it's almost getting to the point now where if it hasn't been looked at by you, or if it's not in a PSA holder, right? Which of course you do all the authentication for PSA as well. If it's not authenticated, I think everyone. Do you think it's fair to say everyone should be skeptical of purchasing?
Yep, you just got to be very careful and know who you're buying from. Make sure they're willing to, take care of you if there's a problem.
Sure.
Just you got to do your homework. I mean, I speak to the autograph authenticators, and they tell me the same thing with raw autographs on eBay. It's just a dumping grounds for bad stuff.
Sure.
Same thing with vintage cards that seem to be too nice. A lot of trimmed, recolored, bleached cards on eBay raw also.
Sure. Recently, we saw in the news that authenticated case that you had looked at of 86 Fleer basketball. It sold for almost $2 million.
Correct.
And I was curious, was that the most expensive item you've authenticated?
Oh yeah, by far. We've done many boxes. We've done 61 Fleer boxes of basketball that are probably a couple 100,000. Some 58 football that are probably a couple 100,000. But yeah, this was by and far the most expensive thing we've ever done.
Sure. And how long does it take to authenticate a case like that? And can you tell us
Uh,
a bit about what you look for when you're authenticating a case?
the easiest part about this case in particular was that it came from the Larry Fritch vault. And for those of you who've been around the hobby forever, Larry's the king. He's been doing this full time since the mid late 60s. He just has some of the most original unopened material straight from Tops, straight from Fleer. And of course, Larry's not alive any longer, but his grandson Jeremy is running the business still. So the provenance on the case was ironclad. And then, of course, we look at that tape on it, on the top and the bottom, make sure it hasn't been removed, replaced, etc.
Sure,
And it was just a killer item.
sure. Um, and one question that I actually had, and this is about you personally. Do you personally collect sports cards or unopened material?
When I opened this place in 1990, I had a collection. Nothing great. I was 20 years old, but it seemed, people would come into the store and say, "Hey, I'm looking for this," and then, okay, and then I'd go home and get mine and bring it to the store and sell them. I figured, I'll always find it again some other day or something cooler. So it was kind of hard to have a, collection for the longest time. Uh, more so in the last 5, 6 years, I've kind of, bought stuff that I like that I always felt was, blue chip. So I've always bought Ruths, Gehrig's, Cy Youngs, Ty Cobbs, Babe Ruths, Jimmy Fox, Ted Williams.
Sure.
And, I buy them in mid grade, well loved. And I have quite a bit of that in my collection.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Well, there's one other question that I had, and I'll let you go. And again, we really appreciate you taking some time.
No problem.
I know you're a very busy man. Um, so this garbage pail kids find. Can you
Hmm.
talk a little bit about that? All of it seemed like there were several hundred cases of garbage pail kids that were available on your site, and it just seemed like an amazing amount of product. I don't collect
Yeah, back
non-sport
in,
personally, but it was just amazing.
I think right around January, February, a gentleman called our office and told one of my employees he had 90,000 cards for sale. And usually when somebody starts with that, it's, they have 90,087 through 89 tops Donruss Commons.
Sure.
Uh, so I called him back, and it turned out he had that many cards. Well, it turned out he had a lot more than that cards, but in unopened form, which he didn't mention at all. He told me basically that he would buy cases from his wholesaler, so nothing was really an X out or a final sale return, and just throw them in the. He had sports, mostly baseball, but he had a lot of garbage pail, and he doesn't even know why he bought it. It didn't interest him, but maybe the wholesaler talked him into it. It was cheap at the time,
Sure.
and all of this stuff was, fresh sealed cases, and took a while to make the deal. He did his due diligence and homework and found out what everything was worth. And then it was difficult because then we had the pandemic shutdown. So I couldn't even get somebody out there across the country to go get it with everything being closed down. So, but we were finally able to do the deal, and that's where all the garbage pail came from.
And did it take a while for your business to bounce back? It seems like you guys are busier than ever now.
It's not just me. Our whole industry went crazy. I mean, when, everything was going along as normal, the NBA canceled a game. The next day, the NCAA tournament canceled some games. And I was like, oh boy, this could get bad for business.
Mhm.
And the exact opposite hand happened. Business just went crazy. Not just mine, but everybody's in our industry.
Sure.
I guess people were bored, stuck at home, and collectibles became very popular, and things went nuts.
Yeah, it's been something to experience, especially when you see the increase in price and some of the junk wax stuff in particular.
Oh yeah, and the authentication. Before the shutdown and the pandemic, I used to spend 6 or 7 hours on Saturday and Sunday to do the authentication work. Right now, I'm doing it 7 days a week, 10 hours a day, and I'm not catching up. It's coming in faster than I could get through it. We've hired more women to wrap, more guys to ship. The problem is there's still only one authenticator, and that's me.
Do you think there'll ever be another authenticator in the future?
Uh, I guess there's going to have to be. Some of
Sure,
my guys are good,
sure.
uh, but as good as, as we try to be, doing our best, obviously the people who are forging stuff and resealing stuff are getting better all the time too.
Sure.
So you just got to try to keep up. It's like $100 bills. The government redesigns $100 bills, and within 2 weeks, counterfeits are hitting the streets. So you just got to do your best. That's all you can do.
Sure. Yeah. Well, do you want to just tell us where people can purchase your product and a little bit more about the business and
Yeah,
anything?
I mean, our website has all of our unopened on it. It's www.bbce.com. Also, the website will help you with authentication, the forms and everything.
Mhm.
Our website's pretty much unopened only. All of our single cards are on eBay under BBC Exchange. And, you could always email me or call me direct too. Still being the owner, I still answer the phones.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And we really, really appreciate it. And I'm sure I'll see you and hopefully next year at the National, if there's a National.
Yes, as long as, we're still all alive, we'll be there.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds great. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Brandon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.